is a house built out of stone. Wooden floors, walls, and window sills. Tables and chairs warmed by all of the dust. This is a place where I don't feel alone. This is a place where I feel at home. Built a home for you, for me, until you disappeared from me, from you. It's time to live and time to die.
Bob was on his trips a lot, so I wanted to do something. I put Bobby in the little nursery right at La Reunion, and it was like half a day, and so I went out and sold community coffee. And one day, I knocked on the door, and a lady answered, and I asked her if she would like a pot free, because that's what you do when you sell. And she just looked at me and said, "Have you ever modeled?" And I said, "Oh, I couldn't model. I'm too fat and I'm too short, and I couldn't do that." And she said, "Well, I'm the head model at Southwestern Photo Arts." She said, "Come on down and we'll take, at least you'll get some pictures free." So, oh, that sounded good. So I said, okay. So in about a week or so later, I did. I took the streetcar and went over there to the studio, and they took my pictures. And then 2 weeks later, I went back, and there on the wall, the size of that little wall over there, was a big blown up picture of my face, and they had drawn sections, all in 5 or 6 sections. It seems that I had the sections that they liked. That meant that they'd take pictures of me at different angles, and I'd look different. So they hired me.
Wow.
And so I would work time until I had to go and get Bobby. And I always took the streetcar. And my goodness, they took so many that I'd get them out of the wastebasket, the ones they throw away. And I got to the point, I worked there 2.5 years. I used to sit there under the lights, and I knew when the student was making a mistake. You know, he'd have a light at the wrong angle, and I'd correct him so he wouldn't fail. And they had a modeling school in Dallas, and the girls would have to pay to come there, and they'd come there for about 2 weeks, and they had to pay that. And here I was getting paid, which was unusual. But one day, after I'd cashed my check, one of the girls stole all my money, and I was heartbroken. We needed it. And they couldn't get me to smile the rest of that day. I couldn't, you know, I was so sad. So they all got together, all the photographers got together, put all their money together and made up my paycheck and gave it to me. And so Bob and I stayed up all night and made cookies and took in a box of cookies for them, which was nice. You know, they were really nice. And we used to go out on location, different places, one like SMU or to the park or wherever they want to go. And that was interesting, and they kept me for that long. Yeah.
Wow.
I was surprised, and but evidently it was worth it.
Yeah.
I had fun.
Yeah.
And
out in the garden where we planted the seeds, there is a tree as old as me. Branches were sown by the color of green. Ground had a rose then past its knees. By the cracks of his skin I climbed to the top. I climbed the tree to see the world. When the gods came around to blow me down, held on as tightly as you held on to me. Held on as tightly as you held on to me.
Here's my beautiful wife here right next to me. Glamour Girl of the Year.
oh wow!
Of year 19.
Yeah, to mother and dad who started all this.
In my senior year, I met Bob, but I didn't meet him there. I met him down at the Y, where I was saying goodbye to my girlfriend's mother, and this fellow at the desk, Mr. Achenbach, he knew me, so he said to me, "Faith, would you like to meet this nice officer over here?" And I blushed, and okay, and he said, went over to Bob and said, Bob was standing there, and he asked him, and he said, yeah, and he introduced us, and I was 17,
Wow.
and or was I 18 by then? Yeah,
Very young.
I just turned 18, and he was only 19,
Wow.
and had just turned 20. So, but I thought he was older because he was an officer, and I had just only known soldiers, and Karen, my girlfriend, came to meet me, and because she had called home and I had called home, and she came down there and met me, and I had to call my mother. We decided we'd go to the show, see a Bob Hope show, and then we started out the door, and Bob came rushing around and said, "Did I hear you say you were going to the show?" And we said, "Yeah. Do you mind if I go along?" And what I didn't know is later he told me he had just come out of the same show.
Wow.
But I guess he was just staying at the Y because he had been in an airplane crash in a bomber, and he was the co-pilot, and the pilot of American Airlines knew the pilot in the Air Corps, and they agreed they were going to take off the same time, and they would wave their wings in the air and say hello, you know, and they did. But what they didn't know is that they were too close, and they hit our plane. Our plane just had a rudder crashed, but their plane, I looked out, Bob looked out in time to see the American Airlines plane go way on down and crash, and everybody was killed.
Yeah.
But there was a famous singer on board who later his family sued the Army and wanted Bob to come and testify. Well, to get him out of the way, the Air Corps moved him from California to Montana, and that's where I met Bob. Us getting this old and still happy. Well, I think it's our kids and our grandchildren and great-grandchildren that do it too. And I love you very, very much.